Ambassador Veena Sikri, let me begin by asking you, you've been the High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Talk to us, with the way things are between India and Bangladesh at this stage, and you've seen the growing closeness of Pakistan and Bangladesh as governments in the recent past, and clearly that is spilling on to terror as well.
Absolutely. I think this is to be expected, because the very change of regime of Sheikh Hasina in August 2024 was conducted by Pakistan. The conduit was Pakistan. The ones backing Pakistan were, in US and other countries. But the first thing that Pakistan did after ensuring that the regime change operation had succeeded and Sheikh Hasina had left the country, they have steadily brought in a stream of renewed contacts between the ISI of Pakistan and the Bangladesh military and the Bangladesh forces intelligence and so on. And they have also encouraged directly the renewal of these contacts with Lashkar-e-Taiba. We do know that one of the first actions of the new regime in Pakistan was to release highly dreaded terrorists from prison, Jashimuddin Rahmani and others. They were released from prison precisely to encourage the atmosphere of violence and radicalization and extremism in Bangladesh. We've seen Asim Munir himself, Field Marshal Asim Munir himself, saying that the next attack on India is going to be from the east. So there should be no doubt in our minds that Pakistan is working actively with the connivance of the Bangladesh government to target India from the eastern sector. Whether it is Northeast India, whether it is West Bengal, we have to be extremely careful. And I must tell you one thing also, additional point, that when I was High Commissioner in Bangladesh between 2003 and 2006. That was a time when Begum Khalida Zia was the Prime Minister. And she had a very friendly relationship with Pakistan, perhaps the closest in the last 53 years. Today is the very closest, but that was, after the relations today between Pakistan and Bangladesh, I would say that Khalida Zia's regime had the closest relationship. And this is exactly what they were doing. This is exactly what they were doing. They were encouraging terrorist groups, ISI functionaries to come to Pakistan and then to come from Pakistan to Bangladesh and then walk into India from there. And every terrorist attack in India in those days had a strong Bangladeshi footprint actively encouraged and created and formed by the ISI. Now, this is what they're trying to recreate now. And I think that we have to take this extremely seriously, because they are not at all light-hearted. They're not at all casual about what they are saying. They are very, very serious. They have already started training of radicalization and so on. There are not only the Lashkar-e-Taiba groups like the Hizb ut-Tahrir, who have wanted a worldwide caliphate and who are very active in Bangladesh, directly involved in Bangladesh's Muhammad Yunus's advisors group. And also the Home Secretary of the country is also supposed to be, a member of the Hizb ut-Tahrir. And it's absolutely a downright dangerous situation for India's security interests. And I hope that we are paying full attention to it. This is perhaps one of the most serious threats, a dual threat, Western sector, Eastern sector, that India is facing.
Major lesbians, that is one of the most serious threats that, India has faced, and this will require recalibration. Even as we continue to be hawks on the borders, monitoring all cross-border activity, there needs to be a specific strategy to ensure that terror doesn't come via the Bangladesh route into India's borders.
Certainly, there is no doubt. I couldn't agree more with what Ambassador has said, that this is a serious situation and it was expected. Why it was expected? Because one is the number of announcements made, number one. Number two, the geopolitical situation has turned that way. Today, a proxy war against India is suiting China as well as US. This was not the case earlier. Also, if you see in big power contestation, all of a sudden, South Asia has also emerged as a battleground in big power contestation. And that's why you found that a regime change in Bangladesh, and somebody was parachuted from USA into Bangladesh to govern the country. Now, if that be so, what has happened is, at the same time, again, geopolitically, another situation which happened was that in West Asia, with the attacks on Iran and with Israel attacking some of these countries, a situation came up that there was a newfound relevance of Pakistan, and Pakistan got emboldened. Asif Munir getting his promotions, Asif Munir getting a lot of limelight, and therefore there is a sense of emboldeness in Pakistan military that a terror attack uh, may perhaps is possible. Number one, and number two, with the kind of situation we had after Op Sindoor, when we announced that any terror act will be responded appropriately, they are finding a situation wherein they have better deniability, because if a terror attack is launched from Bangladesh, then Indian establishment is in a catch-22 situation. The fact is, because of somebody entering from Bangladesh, you can't start firing in Pakistan. At the same time, you will find it very difficult because the terrorists, in case even if they are caught, they belong to Pakistan, and therefore punishing Bangladesh may also not be that easy. So, therefore, a difficult situation can be created by infiltrating terrorists from Bangladesh, and that is exactly what they are trying. So, also, therefore, what we need to do is certainly Bangladesh needs to be monitored. There are two methods of dealing with Bangladesh. The ambassador will bear with me. One is that if you act too hard, then perhaps it may not go your way. Uh, in case of Yunus, elections have been announced in February. We have very strong leverages. The geography cannot change. The water and electricity to Bangladesh, nobody, neither US nor China can give it, only India can give. So there are leverages which are very strong leverages which India can play at appropriate time. But as of now, I think we need to have strategic patience till the elections are held. Hopefully, if the elections are held in February, the whatever is the democratic regime, in case Khalida Zia comes into power, and then there is a problem of governance. As of now, Yunus is least bothered about the governance part of it. But subsequently, the government in power or government of the day will have to govern. And to govern, maybe that they may start looking at India slightly differently. So we will have to wait and see. If required, if we have to act tough, then we need to act tough, and we should be mentally prepared to act tough,
Right.
because others are acting tough. Back
Right,
to you.
Major Rajan Kochar, I may bring this to you. One is that we'll have to wait and watch as to what the situation in Bangladesh is, how it's evolving, and what it could lead to eventually with whenever the new regime comes into power. But in the interim, we will need to act soon, because people like Hafiz Saeed, terrorists like Hafiz Saeed, are going to use every minute of this time to their advantage.
Krishna, see, both the panelists have made some very good observations. But the point here is that Mohammed Yunus, as long as he's there, I don't think we have made any headway with his administration because of his rigid attitude towards India and his irresponsible statements about our prime minister and about our country. So I don't think anything will change till February of next year. Now, looking at the elections, Awami League has been banned. So I believe on the 16th of November, there is going to be a huge rally in Bangladesh by the Awami League. And already the crackdown has started on the supporters of the Awami League by the police and the army to ensure that no such demonstration takes place. Second aspect is that Bangladesh economy initially took a hit, and we saw that the GDP and other things were going down. But I was just going through the statistics. I found that Bangladesh economy is slowly picking up, and the reason is that China has come into Bangladesh in a big way. Major projects China is initiating into Bangladesh now, and water and electricity was one area which was mentioned by Jal Asthana. Uh, uh, China is doing something there as far as that is concerned. So I think in the long term, what is happening is that China, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, this nexus is building up. And in January 2025, Journal Muhammad Asim Malik, who is the ISI chief of Pakistan, he has led a delegation into Pakistan. And now he happens to be the NSA of Pakistan. So you see the kind of importance Pakistan is giving to Bangladesh, and this news which on which we are discussing today about the Lashkar-e-Taiba. Bangladesh has a very 4,096 kilometers borders, 864 kilometers unfenced. So large areas are there for infiltration, and if we actually map the entire area, as a military analyst, you will realize that it won't be difficult in spite of the border security force being there, in spite of the Indian army also now being mobilized in certain areas on the Bangladesh border, you will still find it is possible for infiltration to take place. So one has to be very, very prepared and careful as far as the hinterland is concerned, because today's news, as carried out by a news channel, Gujarat also, some ISIS people and these ISI modules have been caught. And a few days back, we heard about Delhi and Bhopal also. So we have to be very, very vigilant. And as far as the civil society is also concerned, we have to be very, very careful that who our neighbors are. And my last point here is that uh, what are we looking at in February 2026? Are we looking at a regime which is going to be favorable to India? I think that is not going to happen, because BNP, even if it comes to power, there are those Jamaat-e-Islami elements also you have to take into consideration, because according to some political analysts, BNP may not get a clear majority. So it may be a government, you never know, it may be a coalition government.
Okay.
And coalition government will always be weak. So I think India has to really think of a long-term strategy, because we cannot be dependent on what is going to happen in Bangladesh.
Right.
Because ultimately it may not happen as per you as to our liking. So we have to firm up on a stronger strategy as far as Bangladesh is concerned, and I think it's a very challenging task as of now.
Okay, very challenging task as of now. Ambassador Veena Sikri wanted to come in. Ambassador Veena Sikri, please go ahead.
Well, I would like to say that I think this policy of wait and watch cannot work. First of all, the BNP thinks that because they are the only big party left, and the Awami League activities have been banned, which is quite against the constitution. This government has no authority to ban the activities of Awami League and Jatiya Party and a number of other parties. The activities have been banned. So you would imagine, oh, maybe the BNP will come to power. That's not the idea at all. There is a deal that has been worked out, and they would like to install the Mohammed Yunus as the president and the Amir of the Jamaat-e-Islami, the head of the Jamaat-e-Islami, as the deputy prime minister. So even if you do have either Tariq Rahman or his very elderly and very fragile mother, Begum Khalda Zia, as the prime minister, it is the Jamaat-e-Islami that is going to be in charge. It is in charge today, and it is determined to remain in charge. And it is the Jamaat-e-Islami that is and always has been for Pakistan the direct conduit into Bangladesh. So when you think of Jamaat-e-Islami coming to power, you have to think of a clone of Pakistan coming to power in Bangladesh. And that is what you have to anticipate and plan for. There is no question of waiting and watching. The economy is not settling down. It remains in doldrums. Even the IMF rates of growth estimated and otherwise are half of what it used to be during the time when Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was in power. In those 15 years, Bangladesh had growth rate of 6 to 7% every year. And they were, in fact, going to emerge out of the least developed country status and become, a very fast-growing economy. They were a very fast-growing economy. But today it's not like that. Inflation is very high, banking system is very poor, and have enormous pressures. And this condition is not only not going to improve, I don't think the Yunus regime is interested in improving it. There are no jobs. Factories are closing down because I think Jamaat-e-Islami feels that the more poverty there is, the more they can control the people. The more the people are poor, the more they are amenable to control, whether it is for voting or for other purposes, whether it is for radicalization, whether it is for extremism. For all these purposes, the weaker the economy, the more unsettled the individuals, the more they are amenable to direct control. So I think we have to really look at the fact that the presence or the likelihood of Lashkar-e-Taiba conducting attacks through Bangladesh. The deputy of the founder, Lashkar-e-Taiba founder, is already visited Bangladesh and made some pretty fiery speeches. The deputy Amir of the Jamaat-e-Islami itself, who was in New York during the UNGA, has made very strong statements against India, saying that we have 5 million youth waiting in Bangladesh to go across into India. So I think that the time has come really to consider whether we at all can allow these kind of activities to take on. And we have to call it out. We have to tell Mohammed Yunus what is happening in his own country, not pretend that he thinks that we don't know. Of course, we know, and he knows that we know, but this great pretense going on all around that, oh, we wait a few more months and everything will be okay. That's not going to be. The BNP is not going to be able to come to power because of two reasons. A, it is a Jamaat-e-Islami which is in control today, and B, even within the BNP, there is a very strong pro-Jamaat faction. It has always been so because for 5 years they shared power between 2001 and 2006. The Jamaat-e-Islami was an alliance partner of the BNP. That's why I was there. So we saw that strong sections of the BNP have been greatly influenced by Jamaat, and they're fully willing to work closely with Jamaat and achieve whatever Jamaat wants to achieve. So they have been playing this game of using terrorism against India, of encouraging Indian insurgent groups to come into Bangladesh, to have activities against India, to set up camps in Bangladesh. We know that, now that complete reopening of relations between Pakistan and Bangladesh, that the cargo has started. And we know just 2 days ago, 25,000 tons of narcotics were caught. It was described as poppy seed, but it's known to be narcotics, caught in Chittagong, concealed in a consignment of bird food, if you please. So, it is not a casual situation. It is a very serious situation. Much of these narcotics will be headed for India because in the Western sector, they try very hard to pump narcotics into India, what is called narco jihad. And because we have developed a very good system of checking the inflow of narcotics from the Western sector through drones and others, they now shifted the focus to the Eastern sector and bringing it by ship from Pakistan and then smuggling it into India, into Northeast India and other places. So I think from every point of view, we have to really keep a very close watch and determine right from now what it is that we would like to do to protect our own interests and prevent this radicalized jihadi onslaught with the combination of Pakistan and Bangladesh acting together, what it was pre-1971, and attacking India's core interests.
Right. Major Astana, the question I have to ask you is, for now we already know, because a Lashkar commander has officially declared it on stage, that Lashkar operatives are already active in Bangladesh. They're attempting to influence the local youth, and Hafiz Saeed has already traveled to Bangladesh for this purpose. So work is already underway. Tell us what should be India's next steps strategically.
Firstly, Ambassador pointed out the political dynamics of Bangladesh. I totally agree with her. Situation is dire, but then the question is, till the time something happens, how much can you interfere as of today? That's one first basic question. Now, answering your question, let's be quite clear on that. Certainly, we need to have our capacity building and the watch, which I'm sure the security establishments would have already tightened up. The security has to be tightened up, and I think the government is doing a fair amount of job. Even the military is doing some kind of exercises, some kind of military stations are coming up in those areas as well. And perhaps the troop density is also going to be increased. So these are some of the things which we can do immediately. Also, I have a very strong feeling that we must, I think, we increase our covert capability. I just don't find any reason as to why Israel can knock off all its political leaders and why we are still seeing Hafiz Saeed standing and talking, and Maulana Masood Azhar standing and talking, despite so many years. I think we need to increase the covert capability. Others can use it. Why can't we? If US can do the same thing in Pakistan, why can't we do it? So apparently, these are some of the instruments, because as far as the other instruments are concerned, you can only do certain things when some action takes place, because you need some kind of justification to do something. But there are certain covert actions which do not require any justification, because they work in the limits of the deniability. And I think India should look at those options as well. Back to you.
Okay, Major General Rajan Kochar, your thoughts, before we close this discussion.
Yeah, Krishna, I would also like to spell out a few aspects on the strategy. General Astana has made few valid points about surveillance and other aspects. But the problem is, one issue is of Sheikh Hasina also, who's on our soil right now. How long we intend to keep her here, and what kind of leverage can she give us? Because nobody is talking about that, because we have sheltered her. She has a great influence. Her followers are there in Bangladesh, and I'm sure our intelligence agencies are working on this, that what kind of leverage Sheikh Hasina will bring to Indian strategy. That is point number one, because I'm not in the government, I'm not privy to things happening inside. But I'm sure something would be happening, because if the government has taken a decision to shelter her and keep her here, it would be having some kind of objective in a later time frame. A second important aspect here is, I agree that we have to be vigilant, and so we have to be everything. Uh, but we have the capability of creating situations in Bangladesh which will put a cost to the government there. It is we have our agencies who actually work on these lines. We have RAW also available with us, and so many aspects which we can't actually discuss here. But certain actions can be taken by us to make it count for Bangladesh uh, to have sort of this kind of a negative stance with India. And my last point is that, as General Astana had also alluded, Bangladesh depends on a large number of resources and help from India, including the Teesta River, and so many issues. The river, water is an issue, electricity is an issue, power is an issue. So why don't we make it costly for Bangladesh in case Bangladesh is not coming on the line? You cannot be soft to a nation who is now indulging in terrorism on your borders, because unfortunately, as the ambassador also said, the wait and watch. I don't think we can wait and watch for a long time.
Right.
We must put our strategy into action.
We must put our strategy into action. Major General Rajan Kochar and Major General S.B. Astana and Ambassador Veena Sikri. Thank you all of you for taking time out to be with us here.